that beat Colorado, that team that beat St. Louis, those were good versions of the Wild. And, I'm one of those people that still say that their 2017 that lost to Anaheim was actually better than their 2018 that lost to Colorado. That was a good 2007 team. And it was the worst possible matchup for them. And the reason why it was the worst possible matchup for them is that Anaheim was so big and tough and physical on them. And then what Risebrough and those guys did, arguably, is they probably overreacted to that loss. And then that next year tried to get bigger and tougher by adding the Fedorics of the world, around Thanksgiving, and then eventually Chris Simon. And Chris Simon, I don't think even was used in the playoffs. And so it was just probably kind of an overreaction to a loss. And then all of a sudden they just weren't nearly as good, in my opinion, even though they won the division that year. So I totally agree. The 2014 and 15 teams were good versions of the Wild. And in a postseason where, the best team in the league was out. The defending Stanley Cup champions were out. The top two teams in the Central Division are out. The Vegas Golden Knights, last year finalist, out, even though that's very controversial. This was probably a year where those teams could have absolutely contended.
Michael's the volume on his voice has dropped as the coffee buzz is worn out. I think we need to get him some more. One more Twitter question. Thanks to everybody who listens. Thanks again to Twill and the Dining Galleria, Fixologyrepair.com, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Again, if you'd like to advertise with the program or host the program, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. From Cody Kobernick, picks for the Stanley Cup at this point.
I still like St. Louis. I had Bruce on the radio today. He likes Dallas in that series, which shocked me. Obviously, the winner will know tomorrow who's up 3-2 when this podcast comes out. So, we'll see. In the East, I suddenly like Boston again. Now that they've evened up that series, I see Boston coming out of it. So I think Boston comes out of the East, even though it seems like Carolina's a team of destiny. And I still, like St. Louis and San Jose in the West.
Good stuff. I'm sure we'll be wrong, but we'll be back to talk about why we're wrong. Thanks to Michael. Thanks to our listeners. Check out TalkNorth.com. Subscribe at iTunes, your favorite podcast app, and we will be back next week to talk more about housewarming gifts.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive